Hi, welcome back to the Treehouse. In our Rec Celebrity series of interviewing in the Treehouse, we have another Rec Celebrity. Jared, who's joining us today?
Yeah, hey campers. I'd like to welcome to the Treehouse today Dr. Andrea Faber Taylor. She's with the Department of Crop Sciences, and the reason that I highly respect her work and feel like she's probably the most famous person that we've had in the Treehouse to date yet is because
we just keep going up.
You all may not know her as a household name, but you probably know Richard Louv and his book Last Child in the Woods. And Dr. Faber Taylor's research, along with Dr. Kuo and Dr. Sullivan, was very foundational for the creation of that book and a lot of the principles that he talked about that you all have come to know and advocate for and love. Her research as well, as I was looking through some of it, it's very, very well cited. There's hundreds of people that have cited the different things that she's looked at. So she's highly respected in the field, and we're so lucky to have her with us today.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. You just talked about your research and that you have found nature and green space be important on many levels. So what are some helpful talking points that local parks and recreation professionals could use when advocating for the importance of nature?
I think the key general finding is just that nature is restorative. That families are enduring a lot of stress, and we can't fix that, but can't take away the sources of stress. But I think there's a missed opportunity where a lot of families don't realize how important it is to just get outside and be in green spaces and how effective that is in recovering from stress and recovering from attentional fatigue or mental fatigue. I'm always advocating that families just consider taking a walk, spending a little time after school on the weekends, anywhere that they can squeeze that in. It doesn't have to be a deep woods experience. I think neighborhood parks are great. Backyard is great. Just being outside in all weather, I think, is part of it too. Like
Even
today,
like this.
It's a little brisk, but it's good. Research indicates that being in green spaces can help us with reflective thinking, which is really important. I think we don't have enough space in our lives for reflective thinking, especially with all the screens. Everywhere we go there are screens now, so that takes all of our attention, and there's no room left for just thinking about problems, thinking about creative solutions to problems. And so there's some indications with research that when we're in a natural setting, it has just like the right level of stimulation to free up your mind to think about bigger problems and think of creative solutions to those that you can't do, for example, watching television. I can't even have a conversation watching television.
Right, no.
It's just so riveting, and so there's just no mental space left for thinking about things like that, long-term planning, those kinds of things.
Okay.
So, and I do think we all have the bad habit of turning to television or the social media.
Screen, yes.
The screen
Me too.
For coping, like I'm exhausted, I'm just going to go veg out. But I think the research indicates that's not actually very helpful. Like it might feel okay, but it doesn't get you back to where you need to be. But yes, there's just so much research now that shows the benefits for recovery from attentional fatigue. For example, both parents and children get attentionally fatigued. Work is exhausting.
And when you're saying
relationships.
attentional, what is that? What's the definition of attention?
Attention, like being able to stay on task,
Okay.
and tune out distractions and concentrate, different things like that.
So it's like being able to stay focused.
Staying focused,
Okay.
right. It would also, like a broader definition would include self-control, being able to manage your emotions, being able to respond appropriately to situations. And
Really?
respond appropriately to your children.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
That's good
us
one.
parents,
Yep.
we just need a break. We need to
Right.
recover, rest and recover. You can get, even if you can just move to a view, one of my favorite places to sit when I have to work and write is at the ACES library, because they have, you're up
Big
high,
windows,
you're
yes.
looking over these tree canopies. It's just so peaceful, and so it's such a beautiful view. So simple things, just opens up your thinking a bit. And
Nice.
so
Yeah, I've told people that I always try to skirt my way into the window seat.
at
in
the public library.
in any kind of office setting.
Yes,
Like,
for sure. Yes, if you have a window view, especially onto green space,
Yeah.
you're better off for sure.
Yeah, that's great advice. But one of the things that I've been thinking about lately, I heard an executive director talking about recently that, the idea of the field of dreams, if you build it, they will come.
Mm-hmm.
You drive around town, and there's some parks that are really well used,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some other locations that may not see a single individual for a week. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on how park and rec professionals can encourage people to get outside and use the resources that are available to them?
Even there.
Participatory planning and design, where you have the children and adults in the area participate in what goes into the
Okay.
park or how it gets changed, because then they have that sense of one, it's being developed in a way that suits their needs, and then they feel some ownership. Maybe they'll keep coming because it's their space, and also might bring their friends. Like if you think about children,
Yeah.
alter the space to make it be what they need or want, and that's tricky. And I realize all the legal issues of is it still safe? Like temporary dens, for example. Middle school children and upper elementary love to build dens or little forts. It doesn't have to be in a tree,
like a
but just like
kinda
some
thing?
sort of structure,
Okay.
like laying branches together so that they can crawl under.
Yep.
Developmentally, that suits their needs because there's a strong urge to socialize, like 11 to 13-year-olds.
Okay.
They really want to be with their peers, and they might not be that interested in nature. they just like the coziness of it, that feeling of like secretiveness. So if there's ways, I think if parks can provide more opportunities where they can create their own of those, or there's just some naturally occurring plant material, like I said, like the placement of shrubs or something that they low branching evergreens. I've seen kids go up under,
Yeah.
white pine that the branches touch the ground and they can get up inside. Is really valuable. Older kids like using the tops of slides, like the swing set system, and I could see them on like the crow's nest part of the slide. They'll be up there hanging out together. It's not about the slide, it's about having that little cozy space. Pretend play is so important and so needed in early child development, or all stages, but especially really younger children. And so when I see places that allow children to manipulate the plant material or the loose parts, like for example the landscape arboretum in Minneapolis area, they have a whole children's area. It's all natural materials, but it's clearly set up for play and pretend play. So they've put together a little platform area with miniature pine cones, and some of the wood has been carved to shape like a small set of chairs and table and things, just to encourage children to think about like these little pine cones can be used like miniature people and the little chairs, and to start really playing with the plant material.
That's great.
And I mean, I don't know, this is maybe crazy because I've never managed a natural area, but if they could pick plants, like pick flowers, pick berries, and play with those, I don't know, you'd have to be replanting all the time probably.
Right.
It could get totally trashed, but there's just, if you've ever watched children playing, being allowed to do that, the creativity is amazing. All kinds of storylines and things come from that. So that'd be my wish.
And you learn so much from the plants when you interact with them that way.
Yeah, and then the park could take it to the next level and have placards and things that ID what the kids are playing with, and so they can start labeling.
Right.
And that brings to another point, which is the power of labeling, and how our children don't know native plants or any plants.
Right.
They can't name them.
Oh, sure.
And there's research talking about how if you can't name something, you don't really care about it as much. You don't form that bond.
Oh.
And
Knows
so,
to love, right?
Well, yeah, that's a good phrase. And there's great work out there that shows the power of when children bond with nature when they're really young. I think they think maybe up to age 11 is a critical period.
Okay.
They grow up to be better stewards of the earth. Like they take actions. They don't just say it, but they actively care for the earth. And so, a lot of us are really interested in how do you foster that bond early. Yep. When I was a kid, we had acres of woods, and there was a violet patch, a mysterious violet patch. I don't know, like the size of a swimming pool in the woods. No explanation why it was there. And so we would go look for it every spring, where's the violet patch,
Yeah.
Was this really special?
That's great.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah.
I especially appreciate your thoughts that you shared on reaching preteens and junior hires, because that's one of the most difficult areas, I think, for Parks and Rec to reach.
And for parents.
And parents, too.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep.
So,
If you'd like to learn more from Dr. Faber Taylor, I'd be happy to get you in contact with her, and I'm sure she'd be happy to help out and any community as she has so much in ours and in others too. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everybody.